Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, everybody. Today, we are really thrilled to have on Alessandra Zonari, and she is a PhD. She's the co-founder and chief scientific officer of OneSkin, which is a great product that I have tried, really great for women in our demographic. So welcome today.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and to have this conversation with you both.
Thanks. Well, first question is going to be the same question I think a lot of our listeners are going to ask. What is happening to my skin once I start to get older? Like, why are women noticing such a change in our skin?
Yeah, so we all notice, we all face these changes. We see in the mirror that our skin is changing as our whole body is changing while we are aging. So the aging process, it happens, and now scientists already have known like hallmarks changes at the cellular and molecular level that leads to deterioration of the tissue. So there's already known like what are the changes that happens inside our body, inside our cells, that leads to us to see specifically on the skin, like we can see the aging process, but it's happening to our heart, to our muscles, to our bone. Our whole body, it's aging. So basically we are being exposed to damage all the time. Like our body, to keep alive, it's like responding to inside damage, and also like we are responding to external damage, like especially the skin responds to UV radiation, to pollution, and all of that like causes to our cells to sometimes do not function anymore as a young cell. So the function of the cells start to deteriorate, and this leads to like the dysfunction of the overall tissue. So as I said, it's already known like 12 hallmarks of aging, and one of them like is called cellular senescence. This name is a little bit weird, but it means like a damaged cell. It's also known, like some people will understand, as zombie cells. These are cells that when we are aging, they are not functioning as a normal cell anymore. And instead of dying or being eliminated by our body, they start accumulating, and they act like a zombie cell that starts spoiling the whole tissue, because they secrete like bad, like inflammation, and start like spoiling the healthy environment around. We like to say that these cells, they are known, we compared them to a bad apple in a basket. So if you have like a lot of good apples and you have a bad one, they start like spoiling the good ones if you do not remove. So this is what happens with aging. We start accumulating damage on our tissues. They start to spoil the healthy environment around them, and we start having like a deteriorated tissue. So specifically for the skin, what does this mean? Is like that our cells on the skin start to produce less collagen. They start like to deteriorate what gives the firmness of the skin. The skin is also like a barrier, right? It's the barrier from the external environment to our inside environment. And this barrier starts to get also weakened. So we have a weak skin barrier, which leads to more inflammation inside of our skin, which leads to more itching on the skin. And all this together like results on what we see at the mirror, that's a more sagging skin with more wrinkles, fine lines. So basically, like the aging process happens at the cellular level, leads to dysfunction of the tissue, and what we see on the skin is the appearance of the skin being changed to be a weaker skin that's more fragile, and also like has more wrinkles, and is protecting less our body than what was supposed to be before. So it also like loses more hydration, so that's why we have more dry skin when we get older.
So, all of this is happening at the cellular level. Everything is happening from environment, what you're exposed to. And the big question now, what can we do to help slow this process?
Yeah, and the good answer is there's a lot of things that we can do. Like before, we used to think that the way we age is completely determined by our genetics. So, like, my genetics will determine if I will have cancer, if I will age better, faster, or like worse, if I will have diseases. What science knows now is that, like, only 10 to 30% of the way we age is determined by genetics. 70 to 90% of how we age is determined by our lifestyle choices. So what we choose on our daily basis throughout the life influences a lot on our way of aging. So what does this mean? What we are eating, how we are sleeping and taking care of our sleep, exercise, how much exercise, when I'm exercising, this also determines how I'm aging, what I put inside my body in terms of supplements and what I apply topically in my skin, it also determines how I'm aging. So there are a lot of ways that we can choose daily habits that will benefit our health and the function of our cells, and we can be empowered to decide how we want to age as we are taking those decisions on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing because so many people give up because they think this is how it's going to be. This is what happened to my parents. But now with the science coming out and the information coming out, there's so much that we can do about this. And not just for looks, but just health wise, not just appearance, but just health
Exactly.
wise.
Yes, exactly. In terms of my movement, my mobility, how my mental health, my if I will have trying to avoid to get diseases. This is all the terms of daily choices, and we can help our body. And specific to the skin, like choosing, knowing what you're applying topically on your skin. And this I can tell later on, that was the starting process of One Skin, where we were testing a lot of products in the market, and we realized that a lot of ingredients that are in a lot of products, many products, they can actually damage your skin. So learning more about what you're eating, what you're applying, it can also help you to increase your health span, your longevity, your way you're looking, the way you are experiencing aging.
Well, it's interesting because you talk about it in terms of longevity science, that aging skin is just one component of longevity science. And one of the things with One Skin, which we will get into, but you talk about strengthening the skin barrier. And I notice a lot of women will complain that their skin gets very thin as they start to get older.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening with that?
Yeah, so the skin thinning, it's something that happens with aging, and actually gets your skin more fragile and can impact your longevity as well, because when you have a fragile skin, you are more susceptible to infections, to pollution to get inside of your skin, and this will increase inflammation on your skin. So this will increase itching problems, this will increase the bruises on the skin. And what is happening is because on the aging process, the accumulation of damage and the cells not functioning more as a young cell, it makes they produce less collagen, and they produce a thinner skin barrier. Why is it important to keep this skin barrier strong and to keep a younger skin in terms of longevity? It's because our skin is our largest organ. We think about longevity, we think about taking care of our heart, our heart functioning well, it's our liver functioning well, our kidneys, and we don't think that much about the skin. The skin, we just think about, am I looking well or not? But actually, the skin is the largest organ of our body. And when we are getting older and the skin is getting thinner and accumulating more inflammation, if you think about the amount of inflammation that you have on your skin because the skin is not well protected, can impact the overall inflammation of your inside body. You are just like increasing the level of inflammation that you have. And when we are older, the more inflammation that we have can lead to more chronic diseases. So having a skin that's stronger, that has a thicker skin barrier, that protects more our inner body, you will have less inflammation on this skin, and you will be helping your whole body to keep lower levels of inflammation, helping your body like to prevent or trying to avoid that this damage could make appear like more chronic diseases. So this is one of the philosophies of One Skin, that we believe that the skin is an important and vital organ throughout your aging process, and you need to keep it healthy to also age better. And as a good consequence is also that like a healthy skin will be a better looking skin as well.
You're right. Just kind of like an extra, because when you put it in that perspective about protecting yourself from inflammation, for me, I know sometimes when I'm taking care of my skin, out of sight, out of mind, like when I'm not seeing in the mirror, I forget about protecting. But that is a very important point to bring up. Plus inflammation from everyone that we've spoken to, it just wreaks havoc on your overall health. It is really incredible. So with One Skin, can you talk about how that came about and what has been put into it?
Yeah. So we started One Skin like with the goal of understanding the skin aging process and how and what's happening through this aging process and how we can make this skin to function, aged skin to function as a younger skin. So throughout this process, like we have developed two main platforms to making analysis. And I will talk first about this one that is measuring the biological age of the skin. So we developed a tool that we are able to read the DNA of the skin and measure like what's the real age of the skin, biological age. What does this mean? Like we have our chronological age, that's the age determined by the day you were born. And it's counted by like the days where the earth go around the sun. So this complements 1 year, right? And this means that everyone that was born on the same day, same year, it's aging at the same speed. So like today, whoever is born in 1987 is completing 36 years. But if you get two persons side by side that were born in the same day, you can see that their body can be completely different in terms of function. One clear example of that is if one person had smoked for 20 years versus another one that's the same age. That lung will not have the same biological age, right? So the skin is the same. The skin, depending on how much sun you were exposed during your life, the skin of someone 50 years old can be biologically younger or older than 50 years. So what we developed was a way of reading the DNA of the skin and determining what's this biological age. And then what we are looking for is like how we can make this skin to function as a younger skin. So this to allow us to explore when we were doing our studies. So we are a group of scientists and we started in the lab reproducing the skin aging process in the lab. So we grow human skin in the lab and we are able to measure and to see the aging process and measure the biomarkers of aging. So we are also able to get the skin, measure the biological age, treat with products and see what's happening to the skin at all levels. So we can see at cellular and the molecular level, if any product is changing for the good or the worse, or not changing the biology of the skin aging. And using this tool of growing human skins or of analyzing the biological age and analyzing other markers of aging, we started seeing that most of the products in the market were not targeting what was causing aging. So what's causing aging? The accumulation of this damage on the cells, the accumulation of damaged cells or senescent cells. This was not being changed. This was not like the inflammation levels, the biological age was not being changed by products that were at the market at the moment. And was interesting because some products actually, they can weaken your skin barrier, which is the opposite of what we want. We want like a stronger skin barrier. So after starting all these studies and with the first initial idea of building a platform that would be for efficacy analysis, this would be a service platform that we would offer to other companies so they can validate the efficacy of the products. But as we were seeing that, okay, the markers of aging are not changing, we saw an opportunity to try to find a molecule, a new molecule that could really like help targeting and reducing what's causing the aging process of the skin.
Yeah. So what were some of the products that were damaging, just so listeners can know? I've got to stay away from that.
Like just ingredients.
Yeah.
We don't need to name companies.
We don't
know. I don't want to talk about name of brands, of course.
Right.
Ingredients
to avoid. Very good points. Yes.
So the classic ones, parabens, they should be very well avoided. Fragrance can be like sometimes very like can induce inflammation in some types of skin specific. And there are other like types of preservatives that can also like be damaging the skin as well. It's hard to say the names right now because they are all very technical.
Yeah.
But they're like, especially like parabens, they are like things to be avoided.
Yeah, because I want to, if I read a product, what's in the product,
Yeah.
I want to know, what am I doing? What's making the condition worse? And I want it to make it better, Yes. Yeah.
With you were talking about creating a peptide that would improve or slow the skin aging. And it seems that you did create one with OneSkin. Can you talk about that particular peptide and what it does?
Yes. So when we were like seeing and studying this aging process of the skin and seeing the impact of the accumulation of damaged cells on the skin, we built a platform where we were looking and screening for new peptides that would reduce the amount of the accumulation of this damaged skin. So it was very like specific target for that. So we screened like more than 1,000 of new molecules, new peptides, and we were looking to those that would reduce the number of damaged cells without being toxic to the healthy cells. So at the end of this process, throughout validation process, we got to one peptide, that's the OS1 peptide. That's a molecule that's able to reduce the inflammation and reduce the accumulation of those damaged cells on the skin. So what it does is that this peptide helps the repair process inside the skin, inside the cell. So the cell will not become a damaged cell, but will be functioning as a healthy cell. So these cells produce more fibroblasts, and these cells produce more collagen. They are fibroblasts, they produce more collagen, and this like increase the firmness of the skin. It also supports like the skin barrier function and how it's being produced as well. So we see that because you reduce the inflammation of the damaged cells, you have a thicker and stronger epidermal layer, that's the skin barrier. And therefore, like the combination, what you see It's a skin that's more smooth, more firm, more elastic, and more protective. And especially like when you have like already very aged skins that are very thin, you can see that the skin gets more thicker and like less crepey skin in your body, for instance.
Yes, and it's vegan, correct? It's vegan, it's cruelty free.
Yes.
Yes, and your container is you can the recyclable thing, you can put the pouch in and just yeah, so it's very environmentally friendly too, the product is. And what
Yeah.
other products can you share the other products that OneSkin has?
So we have so far until now a line that contains a moisturizer for the face that has our peptide. We developed a formula for the whole body that also has the peptide, and a specific formulation for the eye area, an eye cream. And the reason why we developed this eye cream is because the skin in the eyelid region around the eye, it ages faster. So if we measure the biological age, and we can see, right? We see that it's the first place where we start wrinkling. But if we measure the biological age of the skin in the eye area and compare with a skin on other area of the face, this skin here on the eye area is 10 to 15, and even like 20 years older than the skin on the rest of the face. So really like it ages faster. That's why we see like all the signs of aging faster. So why? Because the skin in this, to protect our eye and to have the mobility of our eye, this skin needs to be thinner. So the skin here is also like 4 times thinner than the skin of the rest of the face. And because it's thinner, like the aging process impacts more. So if you have less collagen being produced there, you will already start like wrinkling easier and faster than the rest of the skin that's a little bit thicker. So with that knowledge, we tested using skins that we received from the eye area, using cells and skins from that area. We developed a formula that has the higher concentration of the peptide, and is also formulated specifically to hydrate more and promote more collagen production of the skin of this area.
Wow, that's wow.
And,
yeah.
This was our latest product and the most exciting so far. But besides the eye cream, we also have a cleanser. That's a daily gentle cleanser that helps removing makeup, pollution, and cleaning and preparing your skin to a better absorption of our products.
Boy, that eye thing. I mean, I can tell when I look in the mirror, I can, and you can tell, that it's thinner, but woo, 10, 15 to 20 years, I believe.
Well, now we're just impressed.
Yeah, I was also impressed with that data, because I also I know it's older, but that much?
Yeah,
that
wow.
much. Is that kind of the same with our neck and our hands? Because it seems like a lot of women age, our necks get crepey, the hands get kind of, and the dark spots that come. Is that a similar concept as the eyes?
Yeah, they also like on the hands, we have like a little bit of thinner skin compared to the rest of our body. With the hands also, what happens is it's always exposed, right? Most of the other parts of our body, we are like wearing clothes, we are protected, but the hands, face and neck, they are the ones that we expose more to UV damage and to pollution. And that's why it also like ages faster than other parts of our body.
Yeah. And I mean, I know somebody one time, and it made me so upset. I was like, look how nice that woman looks. She looks so young. And somebody, I think who was jealous of the woman, said, I can tell by her neck she's older. And I was like, oh, they were jealous of how nice that woman
Yeah,
looks.
it's because also like we forget to take care of the neck, right? So we sometimes, like most of the women, we pass sunscreen in the face, but we don't pass in the neck. But the neck is it's also exposed to sun all the time, right? And we are always and then we pass makeup on the face and we don't pass it here or so.
Yeah.
Then it's actually like we try to cover a little bit the face and like get it like a better looking, but then we forget of the neck, and the neck shows sometimes, okay, the skin is getting older. So we do recommend, because when we formulated the face and the body, because it's less exposed to UV damage, you have less accumulation of damage on the skin. The concentration of the formula has a little bit less of the peptide, and we recommend for neck and hands to use the face formula, because it's areas that are more sun exposed and exposed to damage.
How important is it for us to exfoliate our skin as we get older?
So the exfoliation, our skin, our epidermis, it renovates every 30 days, meaning that the skin barrier is made of dead skin. So like at the top of our skin, we have like dead cells. And then if you accumulate too much of dead cells on the skin, you kind of like avoid even like the best function of that skin. And if you're trying to apply something, it's not going to be absorbed. So exfoliating can be good, but excess of exfoliation can actually like harm a little bit, because it can remove this protection, this natural protection that we have of the skin. And we can create a more dry skin because we are exfoliating too much. So exfoliation, it's a balance, because you want to exfoliate a little bit to clean up your skin and have just the best protection there. But if you exfoliate a lot, you will be exposing your skin. So usually our cleanser, for instance, is a mild exfoliator that like gently, it's able to remove the cells that are ready like to get out, but keeping strong and even keeping the hydration of the skin. So with a cleanser like that, you can use daily. If you do a more like more chemical exfoliation or something, not more than once per week, I would say. I wouldn't recommend more than that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if you break that down, infection can get in. So it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a real balance. It's a real balancing act there. Yeah.
With OneSkin. So obviously we'll have the links in our show notes, but where can women find OneSkin besides our show notes?
Yeah. So far, we are only on our website, oneskin.co. So we are a direct-to-consumer company, and you can find all our products on our website. We ship to US and Canada.
Wonderful. And we want to make sure that the listeners are aware that OneSkin is one of our sponsors, which we greatly appreciate, for Conversations with Prime Women, our event coming up in Nashville in October. Thank you so much for joining us, Alessandra. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me here. And one of our philosophies really like to educate and to promote conversations that like we remove our myth, we get more comfortable about talking about aging, what we can do, how we can learn with each other, and how like these conversations can just empower us to be fearless about the aging process. So we are very happy to be sponsor your event as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.